They thought he was dead. When the Galactic Union evacuated the planet Nereus 4, every ship left in a hurry. The battle was lost. Explosions filled the sky. Smoke covered the air. In all the panic, no one noticed the missing name on the soldier list. 1 human, 1 man. Left behind. His name was Sergeant Ray Morgan. Ray had fought hard. He held the last line while his team escaped. He was wounded, bleeding, and half buried under rubble when the final ships took off. The enemy didn't find him. They thought the planet was cleared. They were wrong. Nereus 4 was quiet now. Dead. No life signs, no radio signals, nothing. The Galactic Union marked it as lost territory, and they moved on. They believed no one survived there, especially not a human. But something strange started to happen. 3 weeks after the evacuation, a patrol ship sent by the enemy landed on Nereus 4 to search for any working tech or weapons left behind. The ship sent its landing code. It touched the ground safely. Then, silence. No reply. No video. No sound. They sent a second ship to find the first one. That ship also disappeared. Now the enemy was confused. Their scanners showed no movement, no ships in orbit, no life. But 2 ships were gone, vanished like smoke in the wind. It made no sense. They sent a third ship. This time it stayed in orbit and used drones. The drones flew over the land. They saw broken ruins, burnt fields, and old war damage. Then they saw something strange. A message. Written in the dirt. Still here. The drones flew lower. One of them spotted a strange figure, not clear, just a shadow, fast and silent. Before the camera could zoom in, the feed went black. The enemy thought it was a trick. Maybe pirates, maybe some wild AI system gone rogue. But one word kept showing up in secret reports, passed from soldier to soldier, whispered at night. Human. They all knew the stories. Humans were strange. They smiled during pain, they joked in war, they cried for each other, and killed for each other. They were small compared to most alien species, but their will was something else. The enemy had always thought humans were soft, too emotional, too weak, too fragile for real war. But now, fear began to grow. Because if one human was still alive on Nereus 4, and if he was doing this, then something was very wrong. Ray Morgan wasn't trying to escape. He was hunting. He learned the planet, its land, caves, storms, shadows. He found old human tech, broken weapons, and enemy gear. He used it all. He built traps. He moved like a ghost. He never stayed in one place. He listened to the stars. The enemy ships used radio waves, secret codes, and digital maps. Ray picked up their signals with old Earth gear. He heard every word they said. He learned their plans. He spoke back. Late at night, on the enemy's private channels, his voice would whisper, "You forgot me." The enemy began to panic. They sent a larger warship, heavily armed, full crew, just to one dead planet. One simple mission: find the human. The ship landed. It reported its arrival. 10 minutes later, the ship sent a short message. Target. Found. Then nothing. No ship, no crew, no signals. It was as if the ground had opened up and swallowed them whole. The Galactic Union still had no idea. They believed Ray was gone. No one talked about Nereus 4 anymore. It was marked as unimportant. But deep in the enemy empire, fear was spreading like wildfire. One of their admirals, a cold and logical machine being named Kryvax, reviewed all the reports. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in data. He stared at the message written in the dirt. Still here. He zoomed in. At the bottom of the message, almost invisible, was a small human military logo. Old, faded, but clear. Earth Forces. 97th Infantry, Ray Morgan's unit. Kryvax paused. A single thought formed in his mind. one he didn't want to say out loud. What if they didn't leave the human by mistake? What if he was never meant to be rescued? What if the humans wanted him left behind? Ray, down on the planet, sat under the stars with a rifle in his hands and blood on his face. He looked at the sky where another warship had vanished. He smiled, just a little. They had no idea what was coming, and he wasn't done yet. The first warship had vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no distress signals, nothing. The enemy was stunned. They sent a second ship, hoping to find answers. This ship was faster, stronger, and carried more weapons. Its crew was ready for anything. But the moment they entered the Nereus 4 system, something strange happened. The ship's communication systems began to fail. At first, small glitches, voices cutting out, images freezing. Then, complete silence. The captain tried to send a message back to the fleet, but the radios stayed dead. The ship drifted silently through space, powerless. Back on the enemy command station, panic grew. 2 ships lost in the same area? It was impossible. No weapons had destroyed them. No battle had been reported. Something unseen was at work. The leaders decided to send a third ship, but this time with a new plan. Instead of landing, they would stay in orbit and send drones to explore the planet below. The drones were small, silent, and hard to detect. They scanned the surface carefully. What they found surprised everyone. Scattered across the land were signs of someone alive. Old campfires, broken tools, marks on trees. But most strange was the message carved into a stone wall near an ancient ruin. It read simply, "You are not alone." The drones searched harder. Suddenly, one camera caught a flicker of movement, a shadow, fast and quiet, slipping behind a rock. The feed cut out instantly. No one knew what had happened. The drone was lost. Fear began to spread among the enemy ranks. Soldiers whispered about a ghost on Nereus 4, a hunter who used old Earth tricks no one understood, a soldier who was always one step ahead. Meanwhile, Sergeant Ray Morgan was watching it all from the shadows. He had survived by learning the planet. He knew the land like the back of his hand. Every hill, every cave, every hidden path was his. Ray wasn't just hiding, he was striking. Using pieces of broken enemy ships and old Earth weapons, he built traps and ambush points. He used the strange storms of Nereus 4 to cover his movements. At night, he listened to enemy communications with a small hidden receiver. He learned their plans before they even made them. When the enemy tried to track him, he was already gone. From time to time, he sent messages, short, clear, and chilling. Words in their own languages saying, "You forgot the human." His voice was never loud, always calm, like a shadow whispering in the dark. The enemy grew desperate. They sent a powerful warship to find him. The ship was huge, armed with the latest technology and hundreds of soldiers. They thought they could catch one man easily. The ship landed on the planet's surface with a loud roar. The crew spread out, searching every inch. They scanned for life signs. They followed footprints. They called out, then silence. The ship reported one final message before vanishing. Target located. After that, nothing. No radio calls. No distress signals. Just empty space where the warship had been. In the enemy command room, the officers stared at their monitors in shock. How could this happen again? What was attacking their ships? They sent smaller patrols, hoping to find survivors or clues. But each patrol returned empty-handed. No bodies, no wreckage, no signs of battle. The fear became real. Alien soldiers told stories in hushed voices. They said the human was not just a soldier. He was a force of nature. Some believed he moved faster than their fastest ships. Others said he could disappear into thin air. But all agreed on one thing. No one understood how one human could cause so much destruction alone. Kryvax, the cold and logical admiral, refused to believe in legends. He studied the reports carefully, looking for facts. Then he saw it, a pattern. Each missing ship was last seen near a strange energy field, unlike anything they knew. The field seemed to block sensors and communications. Ships that entered never returned. Kryvax ordered his scientists to investigate the energy. They discovered it was old Earth technology, combined with alien parts, a weapon thought lost for centuries. Suddenly, everything became clear. Ray Morgan was not just surviving. He was using ancient Earth tech hidden on Nereus 4 to fight back. He was turning the enemy's strength against them. Back on the planet, Ray prepared for the next move. He stood in the ruins, surrounded by strange machines humming quietly. The ancient war core was waking up, a weapon so powerful it could change the course of the war. He looked at the stars and smiled. They had forgotten one rule about humans: never underestimate their will to fight, because no one feared the human. Until the warships started vanishing. The enemy was losing control. Their warships vanished one by one without a single clue. Fear whispered through their ranks like a cold wind. They started calling it the Ghost of Nereus, a hunter who moved unseen and struck without warning. But no one truly understood what this ghost was. Sergeant Ray Morgan was not a ghost. He was very real, and more dangerous than anyone expected. Ray had changed since he was left behind. The long weeks alone on Nereus 4 had sharpened him. His wounds healed, but his mind grew sharper still. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a hunter, using every skill from Earth's ancient wars. He moved like the wind through ruined cities and broken forests. He climbed cliffs that seemed impossible, slipping silently across enemy patrols. He knew every secret path. He was the shadow in the enemy's nightmares. At night, Ray listened to the enemy's secret channels. He heard their fear, their anger, their confusion. They called him many things: ghost, demon, nightmare, but none dared say his name. One evening, Ray found something unexpected deep in an old cave system, a hidden bunker. Inside, forgotten, machines hummed softly, powered by a mix of human and alien technology. A great Earth war machine, lost for generations. Ray's eyes lit up. This was the weapon they had feared. A relic of Earth's past, but still deadly. Using his knowledge, he repaired the machines bit by bit. He connected the ancient computers with alien power sources. Soon, the bunker was alive again. Lights blinked, monitors showed star maps, and a low hum filled the air, a sign the machine was waking. The enemy did not know this. They were too busy sending patrols to find the ghost. One patrol, led by Commander Zal, a sharp and experienced alien, finally caught a glimpse. Zal and his team landed near the ruins of an old city. Their scanners picked up faint signals: footsteps, breathing, movement. Suddenly, a figure appeared, just a dark shadow, too fast to see clearly. Then the lights flickered off, their weapons jammed. One by one, their comms went silent. Zial barely escaped with his life. Back on his ship, shaken, he sent a warning to his superiors. It is not a ghost. It is a hunter, a human, and he is more dangerous than we believed. The enemy council grew worried. They gathered their top generals and scientists to discuss the growing threat. How can one man cause so much destruction? A general asked. He is not alone, a scientist replied quietly. He uses the planet's ancient technology, Earth's old war machines, something we cannot understand. The council ordered their forces to stay clear of Nereus 4. They banned any ship from entering the area without extreme caution. But Ray was ready. He had learned their tactics. He anticipated their moves. He used the terrain, the storms, and the ancient machines to his advantage. He was a perfect blend of old Earth warrior and alien tech master. More ships disappeared. More patrols vanished. Stories spread that Ray could disappear and reappear anywhere, a shadow that could strike in silence. One night, Ray sent a message over the enemy's secure network. His voice was calm but firm. You forgot the human. It was not a threat. It was a promise. The enemy was no longer chasing a ghost. They were fighting a legend, and that legend was growing stronger every day. The enemy was desperate. Their ships kept disappearing near Nereus 4, and every attempt to control the area failed. Commanders argued and blamed each other, but no one had answers. Admiral Krivax sat in his dark control room, watching endless streams of data. He was a machine being, cold and logical, but even he could feel the pressure building. This was not just a soldier left behind. This was a problem they could not ignore. Krivax decided to send his best team, a special unit trained for stealth and survival, to find Sergeant Ray Morgan. They had new orders: capture him alive, no matter what. Ray knew this was coming. He had prepared. In the deepest part of the bunker, the ancient Earth war machine hummed. It was no longer just a relic. It was a weapon, a fortress, a promise of power. Ray stood in front of the machine's control panel. The screens showed approaching enemy ships. Their signals were clear now. This was the biggest attack yet. He looked out at the dark horizon where ships glowed red and blue, preparing to strike. He smiled. The enemy thought they were coming for a wounded man, but Ray was a storm waiting to break. When the first wave of enemy soldiers landed, they found ruins and silence. No signs of life. Their scanners showed nothing but empty air. Suddenly, alarms screamed inside their ships. The ancient machine had activated. Huge energy beams shot from the ground, cutting through metal like paper. Enemy warships exploded in fire and smoke, falling from the sky. On the planet, Ray moved through the chaos like a ghost. He struck from the shadows, disabling enemy weapons and freeing captured human prisoners. The enemy fought back hard, but their attacks were weak against the machine's power and Ray's skill. Admiral Krivax watched the destruction unfold and felt something he never thought possible: fear. The human was not just surviving. He was winning. The enemy sent more ships, more soldiers, but each attack failed. Ray's legend grew. He was no longer just a soldier left behind. He was the last hope of Earth, a warrior who refused to die. In the silence after the battle, Ray looked at the stars. He whispered, "This is only the beginning," because the galaxy was watching, and no one would forget the human who made warships vanish. The galaxy was buzzing with rumors. Stories about the lone human who made warships vanish spread like wildfire. Across star systems, from small outposts to huge battle stations, whispers grew louder. No one feared the human until now. Even the most hardened commanders spoke his name with caution: Sergeant Ray Morgan. Ray was no longer just a survivor or a fighter. He had become a symbol, a mystery wrapped in shadows and old war machines. His fight on Nereus IV was more than a battle. It was a warning. Back on Nereus IV, Ray prepared for the next wave. The enemy was angry. They sent their best pilots and biggest warships, hoping to crush the human legend once and for all. But Ray was ready. Using the ancient Earth tech in the bunker, he built new weapons and traps. The war machine was fully operational, a fortress of power beneath the planet's surface. He combined old human tactics with alien technology in ways no one expected. The night before the attack, Ray stood outside the bunker. The sky was dark, but the stars burned bright. He looked at the distant ships gathering on the horizon. "They think they can destroy me," he whispered. "But they don't know humans never give up." When the enemy fleet arrived, the battle was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Energy, beams tore through space. Explosions lit the dark sky like lightning. The ancient war machine roared to life, firing blasts that shattered enemy shields. Ray moved with purpose, guiding the machine's power like a conductor leading an orchestra. Enemy pilots tried to outmaneuver him, but every move was met with a new trap or a sudden strike. Ray's knowledge of the land and the machine made him unstoppable. Ships that once laughed at Earth's weak defenses now trembled and fled. The battle raged for hours, but the result was clear. The enemy fleet was broken, scattered, and many ships vanished forever. Admiral Krivax watched the defeat in silence. His cold logic told him this was no ordinary war. It was a new kind of fight, one where the human mind and will were weapons far deadlier than any machine. news of the battle spread quickly. Across the galaxy, eyes turned to Earth's lone soldier. Questions filled the void. Who was this man? How did he survive? And what else could humanity do? But on Nereus 4, Ray was already preparing for what came next. He knew this was only the start. The war was far from over, and the galaxy would soon learn the last rule of war. Never underestimate the human. After the great battle, the enemy was broken but not defeated. They pulled back, licking their wounds, but their fear of Ray Morgan only grew stronger. The human had become a symbol of resistance, a living weapon no one could catch. Admiral Kryvax refused to give up. He gathered his best scientists and engineers to find a way to stop the ancient war machine. They studied every piece of data, every energy signature. The solution was clear. To destroy the machine, they needed to cut off its power source, buried deep beneath Nereus 4. Kryvax ordered a massive assault on the planet's core. His fleet prepared a powerful weapon that could drill through the planet's crust and shut down the ancient systems forever. Ray knew this was coming. His sensors detected the drilling ship moving closer, sending waves of energy that shook the ground. He rushed to the bunker, knowing this battle would decide everything. The planet trembled as the drilling weapon began its deadly work. The enemy fleet hovered above, waiting for the ancient machine to fail. Ray stood by the control panel, fingers flying over buttons and switches. The war machine roared, fighting to keep its power alive. The enemy sent troops to the surface, landing in waves. Ray met them with fire and steel, fighting in the ruins, moving fast and striking hard. But this time, the enemy was different. They had learned from their mistakes. They came prepared, with weapons designed to counter the humans' tricks. Ray's traps were triggered, some destroyed. His movements became harder as enemy soldiers closed in. The battle was fierce. At one point, Ray was surrounded. His weapons empty, the war machine's power fading. The enemy closed in, ready to finish the fight. But humans don't give up. With the last strength he had, Ray activated a secret system hidden deep inside the war machine. A pulse of energy, so strong it knocked enemy soldiers back and shut down their weapons for a moment. He used this chance to escape, disappearing into the night like a shadow. Above, the drilling ship shattered the planet's crust, and the ancient war machine began to die. But Ray had one last trick. Using the bunker's emergency systems, he sent a signal into deep space, a warning and a promise. The human was not finished. As the enemy fleet pulled away, shaken and uncertain, Ray vanished into the wild lands of Nereus 4. The galaxy watched and waited. No one knew where he would strike next, but everyone knew one thing for sure. Humans were not just survivors. They were the true force of the universe, and no matter what, the human would return. The galaxy was silent. After the destruction of the ancient war machine, no one knew where Sergeant Ray Morgan had gone. The enemy thought the human threat was over. They celebrated in their strongholds, convinced they had won. But Ray was far from finished. Deep in the wildlands of Nereus 4, Ray worked in secret. The bunker's emergency systems had sent a signal, not just a warning, but a call for help. From the farthest corners of the galaxy, humans and allies answered. Ships came quietly, bringing new weapons, supplies, and soldiers who believed in the human spirit. Together, they rebuilt the war machine, stronger, smarter, deadlier. Ray trained them all, sharing his knowledge of Earth's ancient tactics and the alien technology they had captured. The human army was born, a force ready to fight for freedom. The enemy watched nervously as reports came in. More ships disappeared near Nereus 4. More patrols never returned. The legend of the human had grown into something unstoppable. Then, the final battle began. The enemy sent their largest fleet, determined to crush the humans once and for all. Hundreds of ships filled the skies above Nereus 4, weapons blazing, ready for destruction. But Ray and his human army were waiting. The rebuilt war machine roared to life, launching powerful energy blasts that tore through enemy lines. Human soldiers fought with courage and skill, striking from shadows and using traps that had become deadly art. The enemy fleet faltered. Their mighty weapons were no match for the combined strength of humans and ancient technology. In the heart of the battle, Ray stood tall. His eyes burned with fierce determination. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a symbol of hope, a force that could not be stopped. As the enemy fleet broke and fled, Ray sent one final message across the galaxy. No one feared the human until the warships started vanishing. The war was over. But the legend had only begun. Because as long as humans stood together, the galaxy would never forget the power of the human spirit.